Let's start with a question you've probably wondered about at some point in your life, one that seems so simple, yet has puzzled people for generations. Why don't governments just print more money whenever they need it? If a country is facing debt, poverty, or economic hardship, why not just fire up the printing presses and create enough cash to solve all those problems overnight? On the surface, it sounds like an easy fix. Just print cash, pay the bills, and make everyone rich. It's a tempting idea, and you might even wonder why leaders and economists don't take this shortcut more often. Imagine a world where the government hands out $1 million to every citizen. Suddenly everyone could buy whatever they wanted, new cars, bigger homes, dream vacations. No more money problems, right? It sounds like a fantasy come true, a world where financial worries simply vanish. But here's the catch. Money is just a tool, a symbol that represents value. It isn't wealth itself. You can't eat money, live in it, or drive it to work. It's only useful because it stands in for real things. Food, shelter, services, and goods that people actually want and need. Think of money like a concert ticket. A ticket gets you into the show, but it's not the show itself. It's just a piece of paper that promises you a seat. Now imagine if someone printed 1 million tickets for a stadium that only holds 10,000 people. Suddenly, those tickets become worthless. No matter how many you have, you can't get in if there aren't enough seats. The value of each ticket collapses because there are far more tickets than there are places to sit. The same is true for money. The value of money comes from trust and from the balance between how much money exists and how many goods and services are available to buy. If there's too much money chasing too few things, prices go up, and each dollar buys less and less. If that balance is lost, if there's a flood of new money but not enough real things to buy, the entire system can collapse. Businesses may close, shelves may empty, and the economy can spiral out of control. Money only works because we all agree it has value and because there's a limited amount of it compared to the goods and services available. This shared belief is what allows us to trade, save, and plan for the future. When governments print too much, that trust and the value of money disappears. History is full of examples where countries tried to print their way out of trouble, only to end up with worthless currency and economic chaos. So, printing more money doesn't make us richer, it just makes each dollar worth less, and prices rise faster than people's incomes. Suddenly what seemed like a solution becomes a new problem. The dream of easy riches quickly turns into a nightmare of rising prices, lost savings, and economic uncertainty. People find that their money buys less and less, and the things they need become harder to afford. So the real question isn't just why not print more money, but what actually gives money its value? To truly understand how our economy works, we need to dig deeper into the forces that make money matter. Let's explore what really lies behind the power of a dollar. Scene transition. What gives money its power? Why does a simple piece of paper or a number on a screen hold so much sway over our lives? We use it every day but rarely stop to think about what truly makes a dollar valuable. It's not the paper or the ink, it's what you can buy with it. A dollar is just a tool, a promise that you can exchange it for something you need or want, whether it's a loaf of bread, a cup of coffee, or a ride on the bus. Economists call this purchasing power. It's the real-world value of your money, the goods and services you can actually get for it. When prices rise, your dollar buys less. When prices fall, it buys more. Money is valuable because it's scarce and useful for buying things. If everyone had unlimited money, it would lose its meaning. The balance between how much money exists and how much stuff there is to buy is what keeps the system working. The more goods and services in the economy, the more each dollar is worth, because there's more to buy, and your money stretches further. But if there's too much money and not enough things to buy, prices go up, and your dollar shrinks in value. The money supply should match the value of what's being produced. If the economy is growing, if we're making more cars, building more homes, and providing more services, then it makes sense to have a bit more money in circulation. If the economy grows, a careful increase in money makes sense. It helps keep things running smoothly, making sure there's enough cash for new businesses, jobs, and opportunities. But print too much, and you drown the system. Suddenly there's more money than things to buy, and prices start to spiral out of control. This is what economists call inflation, and it can quickly erode the value of your savings and your paycheck. Our money isn't backed by gold or oil, it's backed by trust in the government and the economy. We believe that a dollar will be accepted tomorrow, just as it is today, because we trust the system behind it. Printing more money doesn't create more stuff, it just means more dollars chasing the same things. When that happens, competition for goods heats up, and prices rise even faster. That's when things go wrong. People start to worry about the future, businesses struggle, and the economy can quickly spiral into crisis. When trust breaks, so does the value of money. If people stop believing in the system, dollars become just pieces of paper, and chaos can follow. So what happens when governments ignore this balance? What are the real-world consequences when trust in money is lost? Let's find out. Enter the villain inflation, and its extreme form, hyperinflation. Inflation is when prices rise and your money buys less. A little inflation is normal, but printing too much money causes prices to skyrocket. Imagine an island with 10 coconuts and $10. Double the money, but not the coconuts, and prices double too. You're not richer, everything just costs more. On a national scale, this means your savings lose value, and life gets harder for everyone. This isn't just theory, it's a disaster that's happened in real life. When money loses value, it's a silent thief, robbing people of their hard-earned wealth. Let's look at a real-world example. Zimbabwe, late 2000s. The government, desperate to pay its bills and keep the economy afloat, began printing money at an unprecedented rate. What started as a short-term fix quickly spiraled out of control, as the central bank churned out more and more currency, hoping to paper over the country's growing financial problems. Hyperinflation exploded, prices doubled every day, and a $100 trillion bill bought almost nothing. The cost of basic goods soared so fast that by the time you finished shopping, your money had already lost value. Shelves emptied as shopkeepers couldn't keep up with the ever-changing prices, and the once proud Zimbabwean dollar became a symbol of economic disaster. People's savings vanished overnight, years of hard work and careful planning were wiped out in a matter of weeks. The currency became worthless, and people turned to bartering or foreign money just to survive. US dollars, South African rand, and even basic goods like sugar or cooking oil became more valuable than stacks of local cash. Families traded what little they had for food, fuel, or medicine, as trust in the government and its money evaporated. Zimbabwe wasn't alone. Venezuela faced a similar fate, printing money, soaring prices, empty shelves, and a nation plunged into crisis. In both countries, the story was the same. When governments tried to solve problems by creating more money, the result was chaos and suffering for ordinary people. Printing money destroyed trust in the economy and crushed millions into poverty. People lined up for hours hoping to buy bread or milk, only to find nothing left. Protests erupted as frustration boiled over, and families who once lived comfortably found themselves struggling to survive. But inflation doesn't hit everyone equally. While the majority suffered, some found ways to shield themselves from the storm. The impact of runaway prices was felt most by those with the least, while others managed to adapt and even thrive. The wealthy protect themselves by owning assets, real estate, stocks, gold, things that hold value as money loses it. These assets act as a shield, rising in price as the currency falls, and allowing the rich to not only preserve their wealth, but sometimes even increase it during times of crisis. When inflation rises, the price of these assets goes up, preserving the rich's wealth. Real estate values soar, stock markets can boom, and gold becomes a safe haven. For those who own these things, inflation is less a threat and more an opportunity. The poor and middle class who hold cash lose out. Their savings shrink with every passing day, and their wages can't keep up with the cost of living. The gap between rich and poor widens, as those without assets are left behind, struggling to afford even the basics. That's why in times of crisis, the rich get richer while everyone else struggles. Inequality grows more visible, as luxury cars drive past crumbling neighborhoods and the divide between haves and have-nots becomes impossible to ignore. The lesson is clear. Printing money is a path to ruin, not prosperity. It destroys businesses, erases savings, and undermines the very foundation of society. So, if printing money isn't the answer, what is? How can a country build real, lasting wealth without falling into the same trap? Let's explore real wealth creation, how innovation, entrepreneurship, and investment can help a nation recover and thrive even after the worst economic storms. Real wealth comes from creating value through productivity, innovation, and hard work. When we invent, build, and improve, the economic pie grows for everyone. For countries, this means investing in infrastructure, education, and stability. For individuals, it's about learning new skills, starting businesses, and investing in assets that grow. Wealth isn't about more money, it's about more value. The fantasy of printing money is just that, a fantasy. True prosperity takes time, effort, and creativity. Don't wish for more cash, focus on creating value. That's the only magic that works. End.